Star Wars Galaxies is a large game which can result in the character's journey not always being more exciting than the destination. This guide aims to alleviate travel woes by covering the following topics: basic movement, mounts, movement modifiers, instant travel vehicles, ticket terminals, starship terminals, and ending with special travel methods. The player character's legs are their primary means of traversing the galaxy. Legs have two speeds: running and walking. By default, characters will run to get to where they're going. You can change this by opening the Options menu, navigating to the Controls tab, and unchecking the Player Runs by Default box. This will cause the character to walk when moving. You can control your character's speed more quickly by using the Run-Walk toggle key. If your default speed is running, pressing this key down will change your character's speed to walk until you release the key. If you walk by default, then this key will have the opposite effect, causing the character to run when pressed. You can modify this key binding by opening Options, selecting the Key Map section, clicking the Character tab at the top of the Options screen, and editing the Momentary Run/Walk toggle line. Characters looking to slow their pace even more can crawl by entering the command /prone into the chat box. Entering /stand will return the character to an upright position. Vehicle mounts are the fastest ground-based means of travel. To use a vehicle, a player must first acquire a vehicle deed. Each vehicle has its own unique deed, so if you want a swoop speeder bike, make sure you get a swoop deed. Once you have the deed in your inventory, right-click the deed and select Generate Vehicle. The vehicle will then be added to the data section of your datapad. The vehicle can be summoned and dismissed by clicking on it in your datapad. You can also click and drag the vehicle into an empty toolbar slot, which will allow you to call and store it from there. After a vehicle has been generated from a deed, it cannot be turned into a deed again. However, you can transfer vehicles to other players via trading by clicking and dragging the vehicle from your datapad into the trade window. Vehicles in your datapad cannot be listed on the bazaar or player vendors. Many vehicles can be purchased from an engineering trader using either the bazaar or by searching for player vendors. Some vehicles can only be obtained by specific methods, like completing a quest or from an NPC vendor. So make sure to check the SWG Legends wiki if you're having difficulties finding a particular vehicle mount. Vehicles can be destroyed if they receive an amount of damage that exceeds their maximum hit points. NPCs will never directly attack your vehicle, but area of effect attacks they may use, like grenades, can destroy your ride. Any vehicle that has sustained damage can be repaired at any parking garage structure. To repair a vehicle, call it near a parking garage, select the vehicle, and open the radio menu. Select the repair option and you'll be prompted to pay a fee for the repair. The cost of the fee depends on the type of vehicle, how much damage it has sustained, and any additional fees the city may place on using the parking garage. Once paid, all of your vehicle's hit points will return to their maximum. If your vehicle's hit points are reduced to 0, it will be disabled. Disabled vehicles can be called and stored, but not mounted. Some disabled vehicles can be restored by a parking garage, while others will require a vehicle restoration kit. Vehicle restoration kits can be purchased from structured traders using the bazaar. Vehicle restoration kits are sometimes more expensive than buying a new vehicle deed, so if your swoop is disabled, I recommend deleting it from your datapad and generating a new one instead of buying a kit. When a character is mounted on a vehicle, the vehicle gains a buff called Mounted Vehicle Protection. This buff increases the vehicle's chance to receive glancing blows from ranged attacks. In other words, it makes the vehicle harder to shoot directly. This increase can be a value between 20% and 90%, making some vehicles potentially more durable than others. Vehicle mounts can seat anywhere between 1 and 8 characters at a time. To ride in another player's vehicle, make sure you're grouped with them and open the radio menu on the vehicle. Selecting the Enter/Exit Vehicle option will allow you to enter the vehicle if the vehicle's owner is currently piloting it and there is an open seat. Passengers can't enter vehicles by clicking them. You can exit the vehicle using the radio menu or by clicking the vehicle. If the vehicle's pilot dismounts, all passengers will be ejected from the vehicle. Only a vehicle mount's owner can pilot the vehicle. Some vehicle mounts come with additional properties, like lava protection, which prevents the vehicle's occupants from lava and hot tar pits. Jetpacks fly higher off the ground than other vehicles, which allows the rider to fly over low walls, small rocks, and down trees. Lastly, some vehicles make it harder for the character piloting them to be shot. The ATRT grants the rider a buff called ATRT Trooper, which increases the character's chance of receiving glancing blows from range attacks by 20%. Similarly, the T2B Repulsor and TX-130 fighter tank grant the same buff, but this time it's called Tank Trooper, to the pilot and all of the tank's passengers. The BARC command vehicle grants a buff that offers the pilot a 35% increase to their chance to receive glancing blows from ranged attacks. Vehicle mounts have statistics for their top speed, turn rate, acceleration, and terrain negotiation, which can be compared on the vehicle page of the SWG Legends wiki. If a vehicle doesn't match the performance of another one in these areas, a vehicle mod kit can increase the vehicle mount's performance. For example, the Tantive 4 land speeder has a top speed of 15, 8 points slower than the BARC command vehicle. By using a vehicle mod kit, the Tantive 4 now matches the BARC speed. These changes can be visually seen in the datapad when the modified vehicle is selected. The specific benefits a vehicle mod kit will confer to a vehicle mount can be read in the item's description. These kits can be purchased from engineering traders and vary in effectiveness based on the quality of the crafter's work. Note that the vehicle mod kits can't raise a vehicle's performance statistics beyond that of pod racers. For example, the top speed of a pod racer is 23.2, 1.1 points higher than what a non-pod racer can achieve. A vehicle mod kit won't reduce a vehicle's stat below the mount's base value, so you can apply them to pod racers for the enhanced terrain negotiation without reducing your top speed. Creature mounts offer another means of ground transportation that's faster than running. Many creature mounts are created by Beastmasters, while others are obtained in different ways, like completing quests or collections. Mounts made by Beastmasters will appear as eggs in your inventory and have the mount stat equal true in their description. Mounts earned from a quest or collection will appear as the creature in your inventory. Like vehicles, creature mounts are generated from your inventory and then stored in your datapad. They are called and stored the same as vehicle mounts. When a creature mount is called, the character will automatically mount the creature. If you're not mounted immediately, the creature will store itself. If this happens, like with a flying mount, try clicking on the mount before it disappears. You can dismount by left-clicking the creature or opening the radio menu on it and selecting Climb Off of Mount. The creature will be stored automatically once dismounted. Creature mounts have two speeds, walking and running, which are toggled in the same way as a character's normal movement speed. The creature's speed stats can be viewed by selecting it in the datapad. You can compare the mount speeds using the chart on the mounts page of the SWG Legends wiki. If a character enters combat while mounted, the creature will slow its speed to a walk, encouraging the character to dismount and face the threat. If combat ends, the creature will return to its top speed. If a creature mount is slain in combat, it can be stored and resummoned later. Creature mounts cannot be permanently slain. One benefit of creature mounts is the ability to call them in areas vehicles can't be summoned, like the Dead Forest and ED Hunting Grounds of Kashyyyk. Flying creature mounts can also carry characters across low walls in cities. There are multiple ways a character can enhance their ability to traverse the game world. The most significant movement buff is called Go With The Flow, which grants a 25% increase to all movement, including both vehicle and creature mount speeds. Go With The Flow is one of the many options an entertainer can add to your inspiration buff, so make sure to request it if you intend to do a lot of driving or running around the planets. The food buff Akaragam can be drunk for an additional increase to all movement speed. It can be purchased from domestic traders using the bazaar or vendor location search. During holiday events, the NPC vendors may offer food buffs that offer movement speed increases, like Ula's Libation during the Galactic Moon Festival. Shorter-term forms of movement enhancement exist too, like the Sprint Enhancement Stim, which can significantly increase a character's movement speed for 60 seconds. Other items exist that can prevent your character from being snared, like the Anti-Mobility Dampening Device, which lasts for 20 seconds when activated. Terrain negotiation is the value that determines the character's movement penalty when traversing inclined terrain. Having a terrain negotiation of 50 or more means the character won't suffer any decrease to their movement speed when moving uphill. Values over 50 increase the speed at which a character crawls. A character's base terrain negotiation at level 90 varies between professions. Bounty hunters, entertainers, medics, officers, and smugglers have a base value of 50. Jedi have a base value of 65. Commandos and spies have a base value of 70. Traders skip leg day with their base terrain negotiation value reflecting this at 25. Terrain negotiation can be increased by equipping items with that stat, like the RSF Spec Ops Pack or Monk's Sandals. Buff items, like the glucose metabolite inhaler from the Chew Gondar Cube, can be used to increase your terrain negotiation by 40 for 30 minutes. Most professions have one or more special actions they can use to temporarily enhance their movement. Some of these actions are unlocked at specific levels via the profession wheel, like a Jedi's Force Run at level 18, while others must be unlocked via the profession's expertise tree, like the Spy's Burst of Shadows. Not all movement-enhancing actions are created equal. For example, the Commando's Double Time action does not break snares or grant snare immunity, while the Smuggler's Narrow Escape does both of those things and grants a greater movement speed increase than Double Time. Medics and traders are the only professions who don't receive any form of movement enhancement from their profession wheel or expertise tree. Lastly, player characters incur a movement penalty to their base speed when crossing water, whether they're swimming or mounted. For this reason, it is recommended characters minimize their time spent over water to reduce their traveling time. Using walkways and bridges helps characters avoid this movement penalty altogether. Tar pits impose a similar movement penalty, but are so rare in the galaxy, you'll likely forget they even exist, let alone remember what effects they'll have on your character. Instant travel vehicles allow characters to quickly move from one location to another at no cost. Called ITV for short, these vehicles will first appear in the character's inventory. Right-clicking this item and selecting Grant Ability will add the appropriate ITV action to an empty slot in your active toolbar. You can find the action in the command window under the Other tab if you want to place it on other toolbars. These vessels can be summoned anywhere in the game's open world. This means you can't call ITVs indoors, inside non-player cities, PvP zones, near some points of interest, or anywhere on Kashyyyk. The terrain will need to be flat and clear of structures, such as layers and player housing, for the ITV to fit. Once landed, the ship can be interfaced by the owner as long as they're not in combat. While the ITV can only be interacted with by its owner, other characters grouped with the owner can hitch a ride. To do this, the owner first needs to call a mount with multiple seats, like the Flash Speeder, and then summon their ITV. Then the owner clicks on the ITV to open the travel interface. Once the travel window is open, they'll want to mount their speeder and wait for all of their group members to enter the passenger seats of the speeder. Once everyone is in the speeder, the ITV owner will confirm their travel destination in the window. Everyone in the speeder will then be transported to the ITV's destination. There are 4 types of ITVs: Travel, Destinations, Homeport, and House. Travel ITVs provide the character with transportation to any starport, shuttleport, or camp with a shuttle beacon on the planet they're currently on. The X-Wing, TIE Fighter, and Royal Ship are travel ITVs that can be claimed from the reward window. The Rattletrap Travel ITV can be earned by completing the What a Piece of Junk collection. Destination ITVs have multiple variants, including programmable location ITVs. Programmable ITVs allow the character to store 2 to 3 locations in the open world to travel to again later. Stored locations can be overwritten by the character at any time. The Snowspeeder ITV can store up to 2 locations and be redeemed for 50 Echo Base tokens, which are earned from the Battle of Echo Base instance, or be acquired from another player. The Corellian G9 Rigger Freighter stores up to 3 locations and is the final reward from the Secrets of the Siren theme park. The 9000Z001 allows the character to travel to the front entrance of Mos Eisley, Theed, Coronet, and Bespin cantinas. This ITV was made available during the Legends 6th anniversary event as a one-time redemption per account. While it hasn't been made available again, the ITV item is tradable, so you may be able to trade for it with other players. Homeport ITVs allow the owner to instantly travel to the front of the player structure they've declared residence to. If the character is currently a mayor of a player city, the ITV will transport them to the front of that city's city hall. The Geonosian Solar Sailor is a homeport ITV that can be looted from Legends Avatar Station hard mode instance or acquired from other players. Unlike the other categories of ITVs, House ITVs aren't learned abilities, but items that must be placed in a player structure or city in order to be used for travel. When in a character's inventory, the House ITV's locations can be recorded and titled by the owner. Like other programmable ITVs, these locations can be reprogrammed later. Most ITV restrictions apply to the House ITVs, with the exceptions that the terrain at the store location doesn't need to be flat, and it doesn't need to be clear of player structures. This means House ITVs can store locations on a player's doorstep. Each location stored on the ITV will list the destination's planet and coordinates at the end of the name. The AT-AT head can be purchased for 3,000 Flashpoint tokens, and the Twin Pod Cloud Car can be purchased for 1,750 unrefined Tabana and 25 refined Tabana gas at the Bespin Underground Rewards vendor. Both house ITVs can store up to 2 locations and are tradable. Once placed, anyone with physical access to the house ITV can use it for travel. This has allowed players to create their own travel hubs across the galaxy, linking together players' cities and offering fast travel to previously arduous locations to regularly travel to. Here are a few hubs I'm aware of and frequent often. Make sure to keep an eye out and explore player travel hubs when you come across them. Ticket terminals allow characters to exchange credits for consumable travel tickets that grant passage from their current location to a limited list of locations. Travel tickets are one-way by default, but round trips between your location and where you're headed can be purchased. Travel tickets can be redeemed at the ticket droid next to the shuttle. In short, this is similar to an airport experience, minus the security. The structure associated with the ticket terminal you're purchasing from will determine what destinations are available. Shuttleports allow for travel between any shuttleport or starport on the planet you're currently on. Starports allow for travel between any shuttleport or starport on your current planet and starports on certain planets. You can determine which planets permit for direct interplanetary travel by opening the galactic map and tracing the lines running between the planets, or by using the planet drop-down box under the Travel To section of the travel window. Both shuttleports and starports allow for one-way travel to player camps with shuttle beacons, and factional camps near galactic Civil War bases on some planets. Travel ticket prices vary depending on the destination, but rarely cost more than 4,300 credits one way. The exception to this is if you're an officer, meaning lieutenant rank or higher, in your galactic Civil War faction and are attempting to redeem a travel ticket on a planet where the opposing faction has majority control. Officers of the opposing faction can face an additional fee up to 50,000 credits when traveling between shuttles on a planet primarily controlled by their enemy. The officer can either wait for the next shuttle, which could be a wait time of up to 6 minutes, or pay the fee to skip the wait time. Shuttles stay parked for 5 minutes before taking off. Another shuttle will land 1 minute after the previous shuttle's takeoff. Travel tickets can't be redeemed at the ticket droid if a shuttle isn't currently parked at the structure. Similarly, travel tickets can only be used at the location stated in the description of the travel ticket. In other words, you can't purchase a travel ticket at the Theed spaceport and then redeem it at a Theed shuttleport. The only exception to this is purchasing a round-trip ticket, which places 2 travel tickets in your inventory, one to use at your current location and a second to use at your destination to return to the original departure point. Commonly found in starports across the galaxy, starship terminals allow characters to interact with the starships they currently own. After selecting a ship, the character will have the option to manage, launch, and travel with the ship. If the ship's critical parts for flight are damaged or missing, you'll need to repair or load new parts into the ship before you can launch or travel with the vessel. Repair kits for these parts can be purchased from traders. The travel option allows characters to instantly move to any starport in the galaxy, except Mustafars, without spending credits. Unlike ticket terminals, planet proximity doesn't matter, so your starship can take you directly from Locke to Dantooine without having to land on planets in between. Launching a starship places the character in space. From here, they can freely fly around the sector respective to the planet they launched from, or open their system map and hyperspace to another part of the system they're currently in or an entire different planet system. Opening the game's menu and selecting the home port option will return the character to the starship terminal they previously launched their ship from, regardless which part of the galaxy they're currently in. Most space stations will allow the character to land their ship on the planet they're above. The landing options a character has may change depending on their pilot-trainer choice and how far they've progressed their piloting level. For example, Smuggler's Alliance pilots can unlock the option to land directly at Jabba's palace on Dantooine. Other space stations play special roles in the game, like the Nova Orion station, which allows pilots to land directly on the space station. The Last Nav station, Imperial Claw station, and the Deep Space station allow neutral, Imperial, and Rebel pilots to access the Kessel system or deep space, which cannot be hyperspaced to using the system map. Pilots frequenting Kessel may want to program their astromech or flight computer with a Kessel hyperspace flight chip so they can skip the sidetrack to those stations. One of the most helpful commands for pilots is /escape pod space yes or /ESC space yes. Using this command will immediately tow your ship to the closest space station and fully repair it for no cost. If you're in Kessel, or Deep Space where there are no space stations, your ship will be ejected from the sector and appear next to the Deep Space access point respective to your pilot affiliation. Keep in mind that using this command will cause your current mission to fail, or end in the case of duty missions, so be careful when you choose to pod. If the character's starship has turrets, or is a party on board vessel, or POB for short, they can invite other characters near their starship terminal onto their ship. If a character accepts the invitation, they'll be on your ship the next time you launch, as long as they remain near the starship terminal. When on a POB, characters can use the escape pod to immediately get down to a planet without the pilot having to land. Characters manning a turret on a ship they can't walk around, like the Y-Wing or Crate gunship, can use the escape pod command to also land without the pilot's assistance. If a ship's owner uses the escape pod, the ship will be towed to the nearest space station with all other characters still on board. If characters are in the same group but piloting separate ships, they can use the dock command to board their ally's vessel, provided the ship has room to accommodate them. After docking, the empty starship will disappear as it pilots itself safely back to a hangar. While speeders, starships, and instant travel vehicles are a character's primary means of transportation, savvy players will leverage all of the game's traversal methods to make their galactic journey the most efficient it can be. Here is a brief highlight of some of the special travel methods found throughout the game. Any character can pay a small, one-time fee to store their DNA at a cloning center. Doing so allows them to clone to that facility from anywhere in the galaxy, making for fast trips back to your buff hub of choice or just a way to get out of inconvenient locations quicker. A character can only store their DNA at one facility at a time. Storing your DNA at different cloning centers will update your preferred facility to that location. Group Pickup Point, also known as GPP, can be created by the leader of a group or an officer that's a member when at least one other group member is nearby. A GPP lasts for 3 minutes and enables all group members to travel to the starport, shuttleport, or camp with a shuttle beacon that's closest to the GPP waypoint for a fee. There is no cost associated with creating a GPP, so go nuts. Flight of the Veteran is an item that can be held in a character's inventory or placed in a player's structure. When used, it allows the character to instantly travel to another character that they're currently grouped with for no cost. The group member you're traveling to must be outside of any structure or instance for you to be able to reach them. Once used, the character can't use Flight of the Veteran again for 3 hours. Characters at combat level 70 or higher can unlock Aurelia travel by speaking with Maximilian. Initially, he'll only offer a set of starports to travel to, but will expand his offerings to more unique locations as the character completes the prerequisite quest for content associated with Aurelia. For more information on Maximilian, please watch my level 90 starter guide video. When a flashpoint is active, a character aligned with the Rebellion or Empire can use the command /GCW flash to see the location, time, and score of the current flashpoint. The character will also be able to instantly move to their faction's camp at the flashpoint by selecting the transport option and paying a small fee. Guilds and cities who are on the winners list of the GCW leaderboard can create travel points to locations in their guild or city waypoint registry. Guild members or citizens can then access these with the /guildW, guild waypoint, or /cityW, city waypoint, commands for travel use. Traveling to one of these points will cause your character to appear at the nearest starport, shuttleport, or camp, similar to how the group pickup point works. Upon completing a quest for Ectran Izdan inside the Madril Caverns, the character will be rewarded with the Mystical Stone. On SWG Legends, this item has been updated to allow the character to instantly travel back to Kachiro from any ground instance of Kashyyyk. This means you can use the stone to quickly exit places like the ED Hunting Grounds or Riot Trails. Speaking of the Riot Trail, completing the quest Riot Trail Mastery will grant the character quick access to all the Riot's different floors. This can potentially save a lot of time walking the trails, as a few quests on Kashyyyk will have the character revisiting these sprawling hunting grounds. Inside the quarantine zone on Dathomir lies multiple camps some characters may find themselves revisiting for quests or collections. Luckily, a character needs to only visit a camp once in order to unlock a shuttle access point. The Rhodian smuggler near the quarantine zone starport can instantly transport characters to any camp they've already visited for a fee. While the galaxy is a big place, you now know how to quickly get to where you need to go. If you have any questions or travel tips of your own, please leave a comment on this video as it may help others find their way in the galaxy. If you'd like to see more content like this from me, make sure to like the video and subscribe. I'm Out of This World Burrito, and thanks for watching. If you'd like to chat with me live, I currently stream Star Wars Galaxies regularly on Twitch. I dabble in most of the game's sandbox features, including SWG Legends' unique creature taming system. If you're interested in collecting credits for yourself, watch my creature taming video for how to get started and tips to optimize your taming sessions. Until next time, stay hungry.